What's up? I'm Miv and I'm doing some game analysis today. It's something I usually do in my spare time anyway. I stream games so I can then look at them at a later date with a fresh mindset, because too often people blame RNG or think that they didn't do anything wrong, so it's just helpful to go back. It's a good way to improve, looking at things you did wrong instead of always blaming blueberries or RNG. But yeah, today's game's a Lyon. We're in a Lyon. Probably not the ideal ship for this situation we end up in. I'd rather have been in North Carolina or a Synop, something with forward-facing guns, because Lyon, to get a decent salvo out, you have to go pretty much full broadside, because it's only got one turret at the front and the accuracy is fucking appalling. So yeah, we go broadside a lot in this game. Whereas in a Synop or North Carolina or something similar, maybe a Nelson, we can probably negate a lot of the damage we end up taking. But yeah, just checking the team sheet there to see if there's any radar cruisers. There doesn't end up being any, but as a battleship, that should be a main priority, getting rid of them radar cruisers, especially as I've got a DD in my division. I want to make sure he can move freely and get the full potential out of his La Terrible. Like I say, Lyon has to go pretty much full broad to get a salvo out, so I do that at the start of a game, just so I can take advantage of any cruisers, or in this case the Lyon that pops up. Probably shouldn't have took that shot, to be honest, but because now I've given away my detectability, which in this position, if you look at the map, I am the only battleship, which means for a lot of the game I'm going to be the only thing spotted, because the cruiser shouldn't be getting himself spotted too often. I know my DD, Mr. Savage, won't be getting himself spotted too often, so I'm going to be taking a lot of the fire here. And as you can see by the map, again, we've got 6 ships coming over here. That means two things. One, our stacked side has only got 3 ships to deal with, but it means we're going to have a tougher time trying to win this cap. So I decided to push the island in front of me, just so I can minimise the incoming damage, and that means I can also choose engagements. I go broad here to try and get the Lyon. This is another mistake. I've left myself vulnerable to the fire of 2 Lions, trying to get a big shot on that New Orleans. Obviously when I fire my guns, the New Orleans become spotted again. That's the way things go. I pick up a semi-decent salvo on the Lyon, roughly 10k, getting in cab, but I take a lot of damage myself, so that was a bad idea. Not going to damage con a single fire, but I will damage con a double fire. It's shot selection time. So the Lyon goes dark, which leaves me with the Trento and the New Orleans. I decide to go for Trento, just because I don't want him to think he can just push the cap, because one, he can get a cap and get his team some early XP, but also he's got torpedoes, which are a big threat to me, obviously. Pick up a decent salvo on Lyon there, and Mr. Savage gets a nice torp, so I'm not worried about Lyon anymore. He must have damage conned the in-cap I got on him, so he's just flooding to death now, and he's not even looking at me, so I can basically ignore Lyon now. Savage's position in the DD is really useful for me in this game, because it's dragging a lot of these players out into a favourable position for me. Pick up a nice shot and New Orleans get a citadel. So yeah, they're coming into this little corridor, where the advantage is obviously with me, especially now Lyon's dead. These cruisers can't really do a lot to me. They can set a few fires, but I've got a damage con not too far away. I've got another heal coming, so yeah, I'm not feeling any sort of pressure in this situation. up a nice little shot on Trento there. I'm a bit disappointed not to get the dev strike, to be fair. Got 7 overpens with 2 citadels. I would have liked the dev strike medal, but doesn't matter. We redeem ourselves later on. Again, just going to let that single fire burn. So what I try and do here is plan a double strike. I didn't realise the New Orleans and the Trento were going to crash, so I pick up a lucky double strike. Even though I planned for it, it was a lucky double strike because it probably wouldn't have transpired the way I planned it. I'm not expecting to win this fight to the bind. Oh, lucky top dodge. He's full health, his guns can do a lot of damage to me, especially like I mentioned before. I've got to go essentially broadside to him to get some damage off, so he should be winning this, but he decides to drive broadside to me and give me the high car, so I'll take that. I get pretty lucky, but the idea was just to cause as much damage to him as possible before he kills me, just to give my teammates an easier time disposing of him. But we're winning by a landslide anyway, so at this point in the game it doesn't really matter if I survive. Just trying to get that damage. Bind stays broad and allows me to get another decent salvo, getting in cap 15k, 14k. And at this point I'm feeling a bit more confident about my survival. I'm dipping my nose in and out to try and minimise the target the bind's got to aim at, while also maximising my armour scheme. The late turret he's firing is causing me a bit of a problem, but I get away with it. I think I managed to pick up the kill, yeah. Unfortunately, Savage had tops in the water as well, but I'm greedy. I'm a greedy bitch. Now, if I was paying attention, I could potentially pick up a Confederate at the end of the game here, but like I say, the game's won. I'm not really paying attention anymore. But there's I think there's a New Mexico at the bottom of Bravo cap. That if I get a hit on him, that's probably the Confederate medal too. But that's just nitpicking. Doesn't make any difference to the game. That's just a personal accolade. Again, I'm a greedy bitch. Well, I realised too late. Oh well. So yeah, a few things I did well, a few things I can learn from. Not crazy on the XP, but it's significantly bigger than second position, so we did something right. Yeah. Oh yeah, apologies for the audio and the video quality. I'm poor as fuck, so deal with it. Cheers.